Okay, so you just checked your portfolio, right? And you saw that Chewy took a little dip after hours. And you're thinking, what gives? They beat earnings estimates, didn't they?
Yeah, that's usually a good thing, isn't it?
Exactly. So that's what we're diving into today on Talk Tickers.
The mystery of the dipping stock.
Chewy's Q3 2024 earnings call, because sometimes the numbers only tell half the story, right?
Absolutely. There's always more to it.
So we're going to dig in and try to find out what's really going on.
Yeah, like what are investors seeing that maybe isn't obvious at first glance?
Exactly.
That's what makes these deep dives so fun, you know?
I know, right?
Yeah.
You get to uncover all the hidden details.
It's like detective work, but for stocks.
I like that. Detective work for stocks.
What's fascinating here is that despite this dip, Chewy is actually showing some serious strength, you know?
Yeah, I was surprised by that too when I first looked at it.
In a pet industry that's finally starting to find its feet again, too.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, how it was a little shaky there for a while.
Pandemic puppies and all that.
Right, exactly.
But Chewy's not just riding that wave, they're adapting and evolving, which is what you want to see, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
As an investor, you want to see companies that are proactive, not just reactive.
So let's set the stage here.
Give everyone the lay of the land.
Chewy, ticker symbol CHWY,
Everyone's got to know that.
closed at $33.47 on December 4th.
Not too shabby, but then
Not too shabby, but then, after hours, it slipped down to $33.06.
there's that dip.
There it is.
Interesting.
And over the past year, this stock has been all over the place.
A bit of a roller coaster, huh?
Yeah, a real roller coaster. From a high of $39.10 all the way down to $14.68.
That's a pretty wide range.
Huge range, yeah.
So what does that tell us? I mean, this is a stock that can move.
Definitely, yeah.
And fast.
Yeah.
So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're going to break down this earnings call, see if we can figure out what's making investors both excited and a little cautious.
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
All right, so first up, the top line number everyone's watching, revenue.
The big kahuna.
Chewy pulled in $2.88 billion for Q3. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
That's a 4.8% jump year over year.
Solid growth.
And they actually beat Wall Street's expectations.
Which, like you said, usually sends a stock soaring, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So again, why the dip?
That's what we're here to find out.
We got to get to the bottom of this.
Right, because something else is going on here.
Clearly, the market's seeing something that maybe isn't reflected in that top line number.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like they're not convinced, even with the beat.
Exactly.
And this growth wasn't just from new customers either.
Oh, interesting. So existing customers are stepping up too.
Existing customers are spending more. Yeah, and Chewy's getting clever about squeezing more items into each order.
Ah, I see. So they're increasing that average order value.
Yeah, they're not just relying on bringing in more people. They're getting the people they have to spend more.
That last point is key, I think, right? They're not just relying on adding more and more customers. They're figuring out how to get more value from each relationship.
It's like maximizing those existing connections.
Right. Exactly.
And that's where their secret weapon comes in.
Ooh, secret weapon. I love it. Tell me more.
The auto ship program.
Ah, auto ship. The gift that keeps on giving.
Imagine having 80% of your revenue predictable.
Oh, man. I'd sleep like a baby.
Right. Wouldn't that make you sleep better as an investor?
Absolutely. No more checking the stock price every 5 minutes.
Well, that's exactly what Chewy's got going on. A whopping 80% of their revenue now comes from this auto ship program.
Wow. 80%. That's incredible.
People set it and forget it.
It's the ultimate convenience.
Right? And Chewy gets a steady stream of income.
Really, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Exactly. AutoShip creates that loyal customer base that every business dreams of.
It's the holy grail, right?
It's convenient for pet parents. It's a goldmine of recurring revenue for Chewy. It's a win-win.
Everyone's happy. Speaking of customers, remember earlier this year when Chewy was actually losing them?
Oh, yeah. That was a rough patch, wasn't it?
Yeah, things were looking a little dicey.
A lot of people were wondering if the pandemic pet boom was going bust.
Right, exactly.
But it seems like Chewy's turned a corner.
Well, hold on to your hats because they're back in growth mode.
Comeback story. I love it.
They added 160,000 active customers in Q3, bringing their total to over 20 million.
Wow, over 20 million. That's a huge Chewy turnaround.
It's pretty impressive.
It really is.
So this tells us a couple of things.
Lay it on me.
First, the pet industry is stabilizing after all that pandemic craziness.
Okay, so those pandemic puppies are here to stay.
Seems like it.
Yeah, people got attached, you know? Hard to give up a furry friend once they're part of the family.
Exactly.
And second, Chewy's efforts to attract and keep customers are working.
They're not messing around.
They're not just relying on the industry to lift them up, they're making things happen.
Right? They're being proactive.
Which is what we like to see.
Remember all that talk about people adopting pets during lockdown and then maybe having to give them up when they went back to the office?
Oh, yeah. Everyone was worried about that.
What's going to happen to all those pandemic pets?
Right. It was a real concern.
But it seems like things are evening out.
Okay. So a bit of a soft landing.
Yeah. People figured things out, found ways to make it work.
Flexible work arrangements, doggy daycare, people are creative.
Exactly. And Chewy is making the most of this new normal.
Smart.
They're going all in, improving their app and website, offering more products. It's like they're building this whole world for pet parents.
Yeah, it's like they're creating this whole Chewy ecosystem.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. An ecosystem.
And speaking of ecosystems, they're also testing out this Chewy Plus membership program.
Oh, yeah. Chewy Plus, we got to talk about that.
We do, because it's pretty intriguing.
We don't know all the details yet, but
the early data is really interesting, right?
The early data is pretty juicy, yeah.
Tell me more.
Chewy Plus members are shopping more often, buying across different categories, and they're super engaged with the app.
Engaged, so they're not just signing up and forgetting about it.
No, they're using it. They're active.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, it's a really good sign.
This could be a game changer for Chewy, I think.
Potentially, yeah, if they can get this right.
It could be huge.
Okay, now let's talk about hard goods.
Okay, hard goods. Let's do it.
Remember how things like toys and beds and leashes were struggling?
Yeah, I remember that was a bit of a head scratcher.
Right, because you'd think people would always be buying those things.
Exactly. Pets need toys, they need beds. It's not like those are optional.
Well, they're making a comeback.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah, things are looking up.
So what's driving that?
Well, it seems like their strategy of offering a wider selection of hard goods is paying off.
Okay, so more choices for pet parents.
More choices, yeah. And they've also made the online shopping experience smoother.
Makes sense. People want it to be easy.
Plus, the economy is stabilizing, which means people might have a little more cash to spoil their furry friends.
Ah, the treat yourself mentality extends to pets too, huh?
That seems like it, yeah.
People love their pets.
They do.
I mean, I get it. I'm a pet parent myself. I'm always spoiling my little guy.
But here's where things get a little tricky.
Ooh, tricky. I like tricky.
Chewy's planning to ramp up their marketing spending in Q4.
Interesting. Now, why would they do that?
Now, is this a sign of confidence? Are they trying to grab even more market share while the industry's hot?
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. They're striking while the iron's hot.
Right, like they're seeing an opportunity.
Capitalize on the momentum.
Or could it be a sign that competition is heating up?
Ooh, that's the other side of the coin, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe they're feeling the pressure.
Maybe they're seeing some new players emerge or some existing players getting more aggressive.
It's a bold move, that's for sure.
It is. It could pay off big time, or it could backfire.
Only time will tell.
Exactly. We'll have to wait and see.
Now, behind the scenes, Chewy is investing heavily in automation.
Automation, the future of everything.
They're streamlining their warehouses, making things more efficient, and ultimately trying to boost their profits.
Makes sense. You got to keep those costs down.
Right, efficiency is key.
Especially in a business like this, where you're dealing with a lot of physical goods.
It's all about long-term sustainability, right?
Exactly. You can't just grow for the sake of growth. You have to be profitable too.
And automating warehouses helps them control costs and ensures those pet supplies get delivered quickly and reliably.
Because in today's world, people want their stuff fast, right?
People want their pet food delivered yesterday. Nobody's got time to wait around when their furry friend is hangry.
Hangry pets are not fun.
Nobody wants to deal with a hangry pet.
I can imagine.
So Chewy's doing what they can to keep those tails wagging.
Keeping those pets happy and those pet parents satisfied, that's the key to success in this business.
Absolutely. It's all about the pets. All right, so we've covered the key takeaways from Chewy's Q3 earnings call.
We've gone through the numbers.
We've looked at the trends.
Analyzed the strategies.
But now it's time for the part you've all been waiting for.
Drum roll, please.
The This Is Not Financial Advice segment.
Where we throw caution to the wind and cook up a wild speculative trade idea.
So remember, folks, everything we discuss here is purely for entertainment purposes.
Don't go betting the farm based on our crazy ideas.
Exactly. Don't make any investment decisions based solely on what we're saying here.
Always do your own research.
Due diligence is key.
And consult with a financial advisor before putting your hard-earned money on the line.
Absolutely, that's crucial.
We're just here to have some fun and explore some possibilities.
But hypothetically speaking, let's say you're an adventurous investor.
The type who's not afraid of a little risk.
Maybe a little bit of a gambler. Looking for that next big moonshot.
The kind of person who dreams of turning $100 into $1 million.
Based on what we've learned about Chewy, what kind of crazy trade could we cook up?
Well, that Chewy Plus membership program, that has the potential to be absolutely explosive.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Imagine if they can convert a big chunk of their 20 million customers to paying members.
That's a lot of subscriptions.
We're talking recurring revenue, increased customer loyalty, and a treasure trove of data on pet parents' spending habits.
So they get to know those pet parents really well.
Like better than they know themselves.
And then they can use that data to, what, offer them personalized deals.
Exactly. Targeted promotions, product recommendations, maybe even exclusive access to certain products or services.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
It's all about creating that personalized experience that keeps people coming back for more.
Okay, I'm hooked. What kind of trade are we thinking? Give me the juicy details.
How about we get a little spicy with a long-dated call option on CHWY?
A call option. Okay, for those of you who aren't familiar with options, what exactly is that?
So a call option basically gives you the right to buy shares of a stock at a certain price, called the strike price, on or before a specific date.
So we're essentially betting that Chewy's stock price is going to go way up in the future.
Exactly. We're saying, we believe in Chewy, we think they're going to crush it, and we're willing to put some money down on that belief.
And the long-dated part means we're looking further out, right?
Yeah, maybe a year or two. We're giving Chewy Plus time to really gain traction, build that subscriber base, show the market what they're capable of.
So we're not expecting this to be a quick turnaround. We're playing the long game.
Exactly. We're patient investors. We're in it for the long haul.
Okay, I'm seeing dollar signs now.
Say.
But remember, folks, we're not giving specific dates or strike prices here.
This is purely hypothetical, remember?
This is not financial advice.
It's just a fun thought experiment, a way to explore the possibilities based on what we've learned.
Exactly. But if you believe in the power of Chewy's platform, the strength of the pet industry, and the potential of Chewy Plus,
this might be a trade worth exploring.
hypothetically speaking, of course.
Always hypothetically.
But now let's get back to reality for a moment. What are your biggest takeaways from this deep dive into Chewy? Are you feeling bullish or bearish?
That's a good question.
What's your gut telling you?
Well, for me, the fact that Chewy's customer base is growing again, that's a huge green flag.
Definitely a positive sign.
And the early signs of success with Chewy Plus, those are really exciting.
It's like they're onto something big, but it's still early days.
Exactly. It's too soon to say for sure, but the potential is definitely there.
So they're not just an online pet store anymore. They're building this whole pet care ecosystem.
Right. It's a one-stop shop for everything, pet-related, food, toys, vet care, you name it.
It's like they're tapping into that deep emotional bond people have with their pets.
That's a powerful connection.
Creating this whole community around pet ownership.
Exactly. And that community aspect could be their secret weapon in the long run.
Yeah. It's what could give them a real edge over those big box retailers.
Absolutely. People want to feel like they're part of something. They want to connect with other pet lovers.
Yeah. And Chewy's providing that platform, that sense of belonging.
So even though the stock dipped after hours, the core of Chewy's business seems pretty solid, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. They're growing revenue, attracting more customers, coming up with innovative new services, and investing in automation to make their operations even smoother.
They're ticking all the right boxes.
That sounds like a recipe for success to me.
It's a dynamic company and a growing market, and for investors, that's always an exciting combination.
So what does all this mean for you? Well, the Chewy story is far from over.
The company to watch.
A company to analyze.
And maybe, just maybe,
A company to consider for your portfolio.
but before you go rushing to buy shares, remember our golden rule.
That's right, folks. This is not financial advice.
Always do your own research.
Understand the risks involved.
And never invest more than you can afford to lose.
We're just here to give you the information and insights you need to make informed decisions. And that's something those big retailers just can't replicate, you know.
It's hard to manufacture that kind of authenticity.
Right. It comes from genuinely caring about pets and pet parents.
And Chewy seems to have that in spades.
Yeah, I think they've done a really good job of cultivating that community.
So, yeah, even though the stock took a little dip after hours, I'm still feeling pretty good about Chewy's long-term prospects.
They're growing, they're innovating, they're connecting with their customers.
But what more could you ask for?
Right. They seem to be doing all the right things.
It's a dynamic company in a growing market.
And for investors, that's always an exciting combination.
Absolutely. It's the sweet spot.
So what does all this mean for you? Well, the Chewy story is far from over. It's a company to watch.
Definitely keep it on your radar.
A company to analyze, do your own research, dig into those financials.
Don't just take our word for it.
And maybe, just maybe, a company to consider for your portfolio.
If it aligns with your investment goals and risk tolerance, of course.
But before you go rushing to buy shares, remember our golden rule.
This is not financial advice.
Repeat after me, folks. This is not financial advice.
We are not financial advisors.
We're just two people having a conversation about a company we find interesting.
Sharing our thoughts and insights.
But ultimately, it's up to you to make your own investment decisions.
Based on your own research and understanding of the risks involved.
And with that wise advice, we'll wrap up this episode of Talk Tickers.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Chewy's Q3 earnings call.
We hope you found it informative and entertaining.
And maybe even a little bit inspiring.
We'll be back soon with another earnings call breakdown, so stay tuned.
Until then, happy investing, everyone.